First of all, it's very difficult to say that the South would go to war under these conditions. It would be almost like, advocating going to war. On the other hand, I think to say that you will never go to war over a problem may be also sending a signal to the other side that whatever you do, we're not going to fight you. And if they're not driven by a sense of fairness, sense of justice, and there is no threat of retaliation or no negative consequences to their behavior, then there will be no incentive or motive for changing their policies. On the other hand, as I said earlier, it is one thing for South Korea to say we have agreements to be implemented. We don't need to go to war with Khartoum. It is another thing which he has also said, that it is not entirely in my hands. If Khartoum continues to behave in a particular way, popular reaction, anger, could trigger something which, despite the will of the leadership, could actually escalate into a war. I mean, imagine, for instance, if the North Dinka were to reach a point which they reached in 1983, of feeling despair that peaceful process is not solving our problems, and that we cannot accept the status quo as it is now when we're being harassed, being chased out of our area, and in fact, the Syria being settled in our land, we are going to retaliate. And if they retaliate violently, their immediate neighbors to the south are not going to watch their brothers being brutalized by a stronger force, which would presumably be the Syria backed by South or the government in the north. It is unthinkable that under those circumstances, Southern Sudanese and ultimately Southern government, Southern army, would just stand and watch the North Dinka being brutalized. So they would. So what people say in terms of avoiding going back to war and what could happen in terms of conditions triggering war, these are both valid considerations. Again, the AU solutions. Ideally, if we were able to sit by ourselves and find a solution. For instance, in talking to the leaders in the North, a number of prominent figures, and I tell them, when the North wanted to go to the South, it was not because of a sense of blood ties or racial linkage to the South. It was objection to the way they are being treated. Why did my grandfather and my father decide to remain in the North? It's because they saw being there was advantageous to them and to their people. Now, when people began to see themselves victims of the post-colonial injustices, where identity became a basis of central government supporting the Syria against the Arabs, I tell them, what makes you think the Dinka would want to have anything to do with you if you are coming in a divisive way? In fact, going back to my story before about the two versions of history, I think the problem now in those border areas where there has been a lot of mixing, what is causing conflicts is this divisive penetration of the central government, taking sides in tribal wars. And I would say, the same theme of making unity attractive could have been tried in Abyei by creating conditions that will make the people of Abyei feel that their bridging road is a source of something positive, and that therefore we belong to both. We belong to the South, but we don't mind also being here in the North, if they were well treated. But with the kind of treatment they have been getting, there's just no way one can expect them to want to be part of the North. On the other hand, if we cannot find our own solutions, then you look to the outside world. And the outside world means Africans are using this slogan of African problems to be solved by Africans. And Khartoum is fond of using that slogan. And in a way, it is valid because when in 1992, the IGAD countries started, or 1994, started the process that led to the solution of the African problem, is because Khartoum approached the Eritreans and the Ethiopians to say, help us find the solution to the South. And they said, these were people who were principled, who had struggled in their own areas. They said, we will help you, but we know the solution of the problems will need some fundamental changes. The South has never exercised the right of self-determination. We want you to remain united, but we also think that the South has the right to decide if you don't create conditions for unity, the South has the right to lead. And they gave the conditions for unity. Separation of religion and state, redefinition of the state. Now, it is only when Khartoum refused to create conditions that will attract the South, that the process then escalates to where it ends. So you need an outsider when you cannot find internal solutions. And that is where, to some extent, you need IGAD, you need AU, but you also need the international community, the United Nations, in what you might call complementary processes. On the other hand, as I said earlier, nobody can really militarily impose a solution. What you need, perhaps, is moral pressure or other kinds of methods of creating incentives, that would move the parties towards a solution. On the other hand, the moral pressure itself can be strong. It can be supported by other nations. Ideally, each country should solve its problems, and if you have internal solutions, that will make it easier for the two countries to come together. On the other hand, it's always the case that if you have neighboring countries having internal problems, and there is a suspicion that one country supports the opposition groups of the other, then they will trade these kinds of negative responses. And so you have to do both. You have to recognize that ultimately it is by solving your internal problems that you will avoid external intervention by your neighboring country. At the same time, it is also important for the two neighboring countries that are interfering in each other's problems to work together to find workable solutions that are internal and to help one another find those solutions, but at the same time to see how their cooperation can be a positive influence on their internal policy.